Happy Friday, everybody. It is happy hour day. So I hope you are wearing something red or have a red cup to remember everyone deployed, and join us. Make sure you click the like button and share. We'll be checking out all the comments in the live chat here in a sec when we bring Westwood back on right after this. Merry Christmas and happy almost New Year's Eve, Westwood. How are you?
Good. Got my.
I'm
getting in the next meetup free, baby.
Yeah, you get a free
Christmas
pass.
Christmas elf, hook me up.
Christmas elf, a short
most
little.
Most beautiful elf I've ever seen. Gorgeous elf, beautiful elf.
Merry Christmas. Westwood.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Hope
Happy New
everybody
Year.
had a good, Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Send somebody some Litecoin for Christmas. It's always a good thing.
I like Bix's idea of, did you say January 6th we should all buy silver?
You should be buying silver right all the time. Right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, buy more then as a collective.
Well, I wondered what your thoughts were. I sent you a picture. We went to this little antique store today, and my thing is not working. And they had a couple different things. They had those Kennedy $50 for $1 a piece.
Yeah.
And I wondered, if I looked through, are there certain years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure at
a
show 64 and before are the ones you want to look for. And what you can do is look at the edge. That's the easiest thing if you can't keep the date straight. Look at the edge. If it's all silver and there's not like a copper ring in, along the edge. If it's all silver and it's 1964, that's another way. But yeah, the silver edge is what you want to look for. And then that's silver. And it sounds different, feels a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you find a 1964 and before Kennedy half, I mean, you're looking at like probably, I don't know, right now, maybe 20 times face value, I guess it is.
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah, I'd have to look up the exact metal because silver's like $24 right now an ounce.
Yeah, they had.
Or so they say.
What was the other thing they had? Oh, silver certificates.
Yes.
For $15 a piece.
I mean, it's more of a historical thing because you can't redeem them anymore. But I mean, they are pretty cool. I mean, it does educate people about the monetary system. And I have a few, and I like them. They're kind of cool to see.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And I noticed some of them said, or Charlie pointed out to me, some of them said Federal Reserve. Some of them said Federal Reserve, and some of them didn't. Some of them were just silver certificate.
Yeah.
From the mint.
Yeah, they'll say like U.S. Treasury note, and then some will say just silver certificate. I mean, and that tells you right there. I mean, that's money. I mean, you could redeem it for $1 worth of silver, which $1 worth of silver, if you look at it constitutionally speaking, it's like 0.77 something of an ounce of silver. And so, your silver dollars, that's what they had, like 0.78, something like that of an ounce of silver in it.
Very interesting.
Yeah, at the end they were giving you like silver shot, like back in 1964 whenever they started stopping the redeeming. They extended it a couple of years after that. You could take it to the bank, exchange it, and get like silver granules. I mean, it wasn't a coin or anything. They'd give you like the silver.
That's what. Okay,
pieces.
This
like silver shot, I think they called it.
There was a box that said the silver story, and it had a silver certificate. It had a silver dollar, a $50, and then it had a little like plastic thing with a bunch of granules in it.
Yep, that's what it is. And they would give you that, because that's what they had. I mean, I guess melted down granules. I don't know. They called it silver shot.
Hey,
so it's like a shotgun shell, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I tried to post on your channel.
Well, that isn't going to happen.
I stream from there.
I know.
Too. But it would not let me. What'd you do?
I can't post. I got a strike.
Oh, you got a strike.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's just unbelievable.
sorry, I shouldn't.
Oh, it is funny because look at. See, I started getting a little rogue, here in the past couple of months. I didn't like veil my comments so much, and that's what happens. But they went back to what was it, November 7th of this year, and struck it because it was in violation of community standards because I was actually talking about the potential for a selection to not be legitimate.
Oh.
And I was calling out both sides. I mean, I was going
My
back to
thing is,
2016.
if that's a community guideline, I'm part of the YouTube community.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
you
fine
support
with
that,
it.
don't you? You can
Yeah.
go out to Odyssey, I think, because I upload them all to Odysseys.
Okay.
And so I think you can go to November 7th and watch the video. And I rewatched it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? So you can't question the narrative. I got hit with for questioning the CDC at one point too.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's just like, maybe I've just got a stupid opinion. I can't even express that. No, because it's not free speech. And you realize that it's an owned platform. So,
Yeah. It's
you
a
know,
private entity.
you're using their tools and
No
they're a
shoes,
bunch of
no
tools.
shirt, no service.
Yep.
And in their case, no truth or no, wait, speak the truth, get out. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
No
our truth,
compliance, maybe.
or there's nothing. You speak
Yeah.
our truth. Yeah, so it's kind of funny that it's like you look at all these other things that people put out there, and you got to be kidding me. It's just silly. So I mean, it's 6 months I got that strike, and I can't post until next week. And if I get another strike, you know what it is. I mean, they get you all these consequences.
7 days. Well, I just got my very first one. They just took my whole channel down without any warning,
and that's it. Then it's gone.
And I can't get it back. I have no way to even
all your
access
videos.
it. Nothing. And they're like videos with my kids on them back when, we were going through Mia's adoption. I mean, I had stuff on there from a long time ago.
Yeah, it's silly. And that's why it's good to back it up to these other platforms. But again, I mean, no platform, at some point, anything can be co-opted, anything can be taken over. So, I mean, you just kind of have to maneuver it and realize what the game is and just kind of play the game to get the word out as much as you can. But I mean, you realize I'm that much of a threat, don't even have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, give me a break. It's that much of a threat that they have to take that down. I'm causing that much trouble. I'm not Ray Epps. Come on, man.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard about it. I heard about the text between him and his nephew or something.
I think it was his nephew, yeah.
And he was bragging about what he was doing there.
Yeah, inciting things.
On the steps of the Capitol, yeah.
And he never testified before the whole J6 thing. Isn't that funny? And I mean, here you got a guy that's basically bragging about it.
Yeah, and other people in prison and that have actually died from being in prison for it because they're being treated so harshly.
Speedy trial and all that constitutional thing. I'm not gonna worry about that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that I love and that are on the show sometimes even that are starting to feel the weight of this
kind of starting to get a little
information war, at this war that we're in.
Getting worn out. Yeah. Depressed a little bit.
And
I went through that.
You're seeing it go on people. Yeah. I'm seeing it weigh on people.
Yeah, it weighed on me. I mean, I put out a video a couple of weeks ago where I just kind of lashed out a little bit at certain things because I'm like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of everybody believing a narrative that's not true. But I did my venting, got over it. But you can't let it bring you down too much. You kind of walk away from it and realize, okay, is it better now than it was? I mean, in some ways, no. But in a lot of ways, you look at the truth that is coming out. You look at the people who are being exposed and called out. I mean, this wouldn't have happened. I mean, you would not have seen some of these people, in the situations they're in now. I mean, think what you will of Twitter and Elon, but a lot of information is leaking out on that platform.
Yeah, that is. And things are happening over there. I mean, I still am not sure if the Andrew Tate thing is a scam that he put on himself.
It's a tough one, just the nature of who he is to really know what the truth is there.
Yeah, some people were saying that was possible, that he might have done this, set up to get attention.
Right.
Because there was some weird statement about how now the court is holding him for 90 days.
Yeah, he's being detained now. He's not arrested. I think it's 30, maybe. I don't know. But he was arrested, then released, not charged, but being detained.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
What,
doesn't really.
whatever that means.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems very strange, and maybe that's just the way they do things in Romania versus here. I don't know.
Could be. You know, that's where the Transylvania was. You know, the home of the Vlad Tepes, the vampire. So you never
Oh,
know.
there you go.
Castle Dracula.
I don't know.
Yeah, Romania. I don't know. And then that weird statement, see, it's just amazing. You know, you don't realize how many people are in the 3-letter agencies, but he actually came out and said, my father was in the CIA and learned Russian in
Yeah.
2.5 weeks. He's very smart. And I'm thinking, your dad was in the CIA? What's going on?
Yeah, yeah. But then that kind of goes back to what Johnny and I were talking about yesterday, that like some of these people will say like they were in the CIA or they work for the CIA, but they may be a confidential informant. They may get a paycheck every once in a while
Mhm.
or have done a job for a period of time or whatever. But it's not like they went to school to be in the CIA and went to the farm and all that
Right.
kind of stuff. It might be like, oh, you did something bad and got caught, and the CIA is now asking you to continue doing that to give them
Yeah.
information.
Right.
And if you don't, then you're going to go to jail for your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, then, well, we might just help you out or make sure you're okay on this. I don't know what deals they make with them. But
I don't either.
it made me think of that thing with Tiger King. Do you remember
Yeah.
the Tiger King?
I never watched it. I did watch Killer Sally, though. And I'm just wondering. Anyway.
Is that similar?
No, it's a different thing.
Oh.
Netflix thing. I didn't know. I never watched the Tiger King. I know everybody did. And
Well, I'm in Oklahoma, so everybody had to watch it in Oklahoma.
Right.
It's mandatory. No.
I got you.
But they it was one of those, train wreck, can't turn away once you start watching it.
Mhm.
And then it got into like a newer season where this new guy came in to buy the place or kind of steal it from him once he was in jail. And he was like just a disgusting animal himself. Like he treated his girlfriend bad who was pregnant, and he was like just a pig. And then come to find out he's bragging that he was one of those informant things. And I was like, you do what? And it was all around the time when they were coming out and they disclosed, and I don't remember the dollar amount now, but this huge dollar amount that we taxpayers pay these informants.
Mhm.
But the budget for that came out and it was huge. And I was like, I'm paying this thug with my tax money.
Well, Lisa, where does that money come from?
It comes from us. We the
Yeah,
people.
I mean, it comes from our energy. It really doesn't.
Our
I mean,
labor.
it doesn't come from the taxes so much. They rob you through inflation by creating all the money, and so they've basically, that's why you have inflation, because you've got all this money they create for all these nefarious activities, and it's amazing because you're like, wait a minute, these guys are all informants. I mean, this person worked there. Where's this money come from? I mean, it's just unbelievable how much money they have access to and have abused and used, and it's unaccountable. I mean, it's just. And we all suffer because of it, because they've stolen our energy, because they're vampires, and it's a vampire casino.
Maybe that's why I'm so tired lately.
Yeah, they're stealing your energy, sucking your energy out of you.
Energy.
Vampires.
I'm like, what's up? I think it's the sunlight too.
Yeah.
Between
vampires,
being
no
home
sun.
so much for the holidays and cooking and trying to get everything ready for the kids and all that stuff, you end up staying inside a little bit more, and then the weather was bad and all that. So today we got out and went and had a nice lunch and went down and walked around this antique mall in Guthrie. And one of the first things we saw, I tweeted it out because it was just too creepy, was this 32-degree Masonic hat with a case, and it's got this owl on it in the triangle shape. And so Guthrie has like the world's largest Masonic lodge. That is like literally like 20 minutes from me.
Looking up your tweets. Get to see it.
Yeah, it's super creepy. Like I almost bought it because it's so creepy, but then I'm like, ooh, that has some satanic juju on it.
Yeah, it's like those dolls people bring home, and then they're like, "What the heck is going on?" Dishes falling out of the cabinets. What am I doing? What did I bring home?
And there was tons of like Masonic jewelry there at the thing, which I mean, it makes sense. Like I said, there's the biggest center thing is there, the biggest building.
So they're going to have a lot of relics.
Yeah. And, gosh, it was just, yeah. But then they had some cool stuff too. It was a 32 degree. It wasn't a 33. It was 32.
Oh, so they didn't go to the other temple. Move over to what is the Scottish Rite? Then you're 33rd degree, and that one.
I've heard. Like that. So I don't know.
Scotch. So does that make me 33?
I don't know what the rules are, but I have a family member that was a 32 degree Mason, and I've had other people tell me there were good ones and there were bad ones.
Well, I think that's like everything, though.
Even up to that point.
There's good and there's bad, no matter where you're at. I mean, there are people that, you can't blanketly say that, just because they're part of something that they're all bad. I mean, there's got to be some good. But, yeah, I mean, it's secret, and they got rituals, and there's, so it makes you question. It makes you question things. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Wasn't Roosevelt a 33rd degree Mason? FDR, I think, 33rd degree. I think he was.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff in there, though. They had some silver, those silver Kennedy $50. They had silver certificates. There was some really cool. There was this little pin that had like American flag, and it was like GOP. Wilking, something like that. I don't know. It was from 1940. So they used to wear these little like badges, like a pin for promoting their representative or president, or I don't know, whoever they wanted.
I like Ike.
Yeah. somewhere in there. Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool. I like all that history stuff. So that was cool. Reggie made his big announcement, and he's filed suit against Circle for use, transfer, and minting of USDC stablecoins, which Veritasium alleges infringes on a multitude of patents, including the 566, the 477, and their breaking news just patented 40 claim. Oh, wait, he's got too many tweets. I've gone on to another. 3 separate patents.
How's it feel?
Roughly 75 claims, first and third largest economies. Okay. So he also is announcing that third patent so they have about 75 claims on DeFi. In Japan and the US.
Interesting.
Pretty exciting.
A lot of exciting stuff as we move into when's the inauguration? Is it the 3rd of the new Congress people? I think it's the 3rd of January.
I believe that's the first day back. And that's so I've been seeing stuff about January 3rd. Then I went through and did my little woo-woo stuff. And this, the King of Misrule starts, if you do it in the Julian calendar, it would be over on, Christmas is on the 3rd of January in the Julian calendar. And I'm sorry. Is that right?
Not your keys, not your crypto.
But January 3rd, right? Is like the end of the King of Misrule day is from what the little math I was doing that day. And then last night we were flipping through looking for movies, whatever. And you know how Wano Savin talks about Casino Royale all the time?
Okay, yeah, the Bond film.
You have to understand this is for Casino Royale. This is for Casino Royale. This is for all the chips, I've never seen it. And so we're scrolling through on like top rated movies or whatever. And the 13th, 1-3 is Casino Royale.
Have fun. Enjoy the show.
And I'm like, what are the odds that that's the 13th most popular movie right now?
I'm
not buying that. So then I'm like, okay, we have to watch it. And to me, it just confirms that, that either A, I'm crazy, or B, something could happen on the 3rd.
Never know. Well, we know something's happening. We got new Congress people coming in, and
Yeah.
you know, different leadership and control. I don't know if it makes a difference, but the fact is, you know, hey, let's wrap up this J6 thing. We've lost control. We had our fun.
No, they
Didn't get
dropped
anything
the
out of it. Dropped the
charges
subpoena. You know,
from
he
yeah,
doesn't need to come
sorry,
now.
not even charges, but the subpoena.
Adam Kinzinger gets to go home. You know, and Dick Cheney Jr. gets to go home. I mean,
Yeah.
this is what gets me. She put out a tweet or a message that said, "This is Liz Cheney." You know, who lost just horribly in her election, not getting reelected. But she put out a tweet and says, "He's unfit to be president." You know, Donald Trump. Think of Donald Trump what you will. I don't care. But her dad was Dick Cheney. I mean, how can she say that? I mean, come on, man.
Oh, it's
just that's how absurd it is, though. I mean,
hey, did I send you the stuff on the Jonestown thing? And
no, but I know a little bit about it.
That Spire
Jim
lady
Jones.
and her stepping down and all that.
I don't think I saw that. If you did,
okay. So here, this Congresswoman. I don't know if you can see that.
I'm old and blind. No, yeah.
Okay.
So
she was left for dead at Jonestown. And I read through this, and it said that she and this, so she's Representative Jackie Spire. She recently has been pushing for this to end sexual harassment in Congress, this bill. And she actually made claims on video saying there are at least 2 people actively one on each side of the aisle that are actively and have not been held accountable for sexual harassment that is known by everyone, pretty much. Basically,
they have a big fund that basically the Congress does that pays people off for these types of charges, and they just basically squash them.
That's insane.
Oh yeah, I know, but nobody talks about it, of course.
Yeah. So she just stepped down and retired right here at the end of the year, right before we're going into this new, thing coming back on the 3rd. She didn't finish her sexual harassment bill, get it completed, pushed through all the way. And she was talking about that back in 78, there weren't many high-ranking women in Congress, blah, blah, blah. So she was legislative counsel for Congressman Ryan. And so they had all these reports from family members and friends that people were being held against their will or were unable to leave, whatever. And so he went finally, and with no military escort, and the State Department had not given a warning or protection for them. And he goes to
Jonestown.
Yeah. On the northern coast of South America. And by the end of the trip, they got back to the airport. This is before everybody killed themselves. And then the Jonestown people went in and shot everybody up and killed Congressman Ryan. She's hid behind a tire.
Yeah.
But did get shot like 6 or 7 times and laid there for 22 hours before they could get somebody to come rescue them. But when they had got there, they were finding that people were wanting to leave, and they were going to need more than just one plane.
Yeah.
And
it's terrible conditions. I mean, he brainwashed them all, got them all down there, and they had a big shootout at the end. I mean, they're trying to leave on this plane, and they come with their Jeeps and stuff with their guns, and start shooting people up. I mean, because what had happened when these congressmen got there secretly, they were getting pulled aside, and people were like, "Hey, there's some really bad stuff going on here. Can you take us out of here? Can we get out of here? Because we can't leave. We're basically enslaved and being abused, in all kinds of different ways." And this guy's like a tyrant.
Beat you up is what this lady was like testifying to Representative Ryan.
They're all starving, and he's having these fancy meals, getting fat and happy, and it was ridiculous.
I don't know. It just makes me wonder if there wasn't something else going on there, and that was the story we were told.
It's hard to say. That was a cover story. It
was something that the military was covering up, or that the dark military. I don't know.
What makes you think that our government would ever cover anything up?
because they pay Twitter. They pay Twitter and other tech
they tell
companies
Twitter executives to take stuff down,
what to
because it
say.
violates
Yeah,
the narrative of
yeah, that's
rolling
why.
out a pandemic. Come on.
Yeah, that and affecting people's opinions when it's time to share their voice. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So
And yes, Nancy Eisman, this cigar is very tasty. It's a Oliva Serie V, and it's the 135th anniversary stick, which it's a Serie V, but it's shaped differently. It's really good. It's one of my favorites. So there you have that.
crazy. Well, did everyone get home from the holidays? I know Tom was stranded for a while.
A lot of people had issues. I
A lot of
mean,
people had issues. I don't know if everybody got home.
that's why I'll never fly again.
You might. I think they're coming out with new planes. I think we've got new planes coming out.
Unless there's a teleporter, I'm not game. I got to have the teleporter.
I'm less excited about the teleporter.
I know, because I might come back and have an arm in a different spot or something.
Right.
I might get miscalculated.
There's a old science experiment where they tried to teleport military guys.
Oh, the Philadelphia experiment, where they're like halfway embedded inside of the boat.
Yeah.
When they come back from time travel. Yeah.
Yes.
That one. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's perfected by now.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Oh, mercy.
And that's why I'm just happy where I'm at.
I wish
don't
we
want
had
to leave.
Pubs, though. See, Chris Card said he just got home from the pub.
Yeah.
So my understanding that and I may have just watched way too many Hallmark movies, but it's my understanding that in Ireland and Scotland and lots of these places that there's a little, for every town, there's a pub. And that's where okay, it's after work or once a week or on the weekend or whatever. Everybody is the place where it's cheers, everybody knows.
I know.
Name.
Norm.
Yeah. And you go and everybody talks about, the current events and kind of like our happy hour, And
the pub's right here.
Yeah. I wish we had a pub here. I don't know that I would have anybody to hang out with me here, though, because I think there's a lot of normies around me.
Well, I'm here alone right now.
I know.
So
we were going to come up, but you're proof to the point that
I'm proof of pub right here. Nobody wants to come around and hear about freedom and all that stuff. Just too scary.
Why is that?
It's scary. I mean, it's like you got to get outside. I mean, you've got to question everything that you've done in your life and say, man, was I deceived my whole life? I really don't want to go there. And a lot of people can't handle that. They can't handle that self-analysis and say, okay, so they deceived me. I screwed up. Now I know the truth and I'm just moving on. And so people can't handle that. I mean, I don't want to be told what to do, but I mean, if I look at it and I evaluate what's been going on and I realize I've been doing things that are wrong because I've been deceived, well, I'm going to change my opinion and my outlook and my actions and move forward. Because once you see the truth, I mean, for me, I can't go back. Some people, they just say, forget it. I'm just going to deny it. I can't, I just can't deny it. I mean, it is what it is. And some people don't want to be around that and hear that.
Yeah.
So
I guess then it forces you, when
you got to do something about it.
And you have to, that's where I know of a situation where the husband was unfaithful for years and the wife knew about it, but everybody knew about it, but they just don't talk about it.
Right.
And it allowed her to have a lot of control.
Yeah, because she's like, hey, I'm going to do this because, the thing.
Yeah. And then somebody got involved and caused him to say okay, no, we need to get divorced and whatever. And the wife was pissed off. She's like, things have been fine. You get out of here.
I'm used to this game. I know how to play it now, and you're screwing it all up.
So I think of that when I think about people that don't want to hear the truth. They're just so comfortable, even though they know they're getting taken advantage of. They know it's they would rather have the known than the unknown.
Right.
And have to take responsibility for themselves.
I'm not crossing the Potomac. It's too cold. I'm just not doing it. I mean, think about it. That's where you're at.
Yeah.
It's just we probably should because we got to do this. I'm not comfortable doing it. I'm going to sit by the campfire.
Well,
Just kind of how it is. I know, because sometimes if you know the narrative, and think about it though, you've worked 30 years, you got your retirement saved up and you got all your money saved up, and I got my money in the stock market, I got it here and there, and then you start realizing, wait a minute, all this stuff's rigged, you're telling me? So I've done the wrong thing. I got all this stuff locked up. I'm working for a government that's corrupt. But a couple more years, I got my retirement money, and I just don't want to rock the boat.
It'll be safe. It's in the bank, and there's FDIC.
And the FDIC's got it covered, right? No,
this is the argument. People do this with me all the time, and I'm so glad to see this publicly.
Yes.
November 2022 FDIC meeting.
A month ago.
Yes. In everybody's face, told them about fractional reserve banking. They said, quote, people need to understand they can get bailed in.
Yes. You know what a bail-in is?
Yeah. Well,
they take your money that you've got deposited, and then they use it to stay solvent.
To make themselves solvent. And you know who they pay first? Their shareholders.
The derivative holders, all the ones that have been corrupt with the money, who don't deserve it, and you're last. But you own the bank, you're a shareholder. So
and everybody's like, that will never happen because of the FDIC.
No.
Well, the FDIC insures $9 trillion with a T dollars of deposits, with only $125 billion worth of assets. That is about a tenth of the assets to cover the amount of deposits that they say they insure.
So you're telling me when everybody in the town goes to the Bailey Savings and Loan, George Bailey says, "Oh, the money's here. It's it's over all these." Well, guess what? The money's not in the bank, and that's the key. If people have a bank run and they want their cash, which what's that worth? But it's worth more than something on paper. If they want their cash, it's not there. But it's deposit insurance. $250,000. It might be back to $100,000 now. I don't know. Let's say it's $250,000. So you think you're going to get it? Well, maybe the first, what is it? What's the number? 125 billion. First 125 billion might be covered, and then there's all the rest. So if it's not there, the government will bail us out. And I've had this argument before 10 years ago, and we're talking about not being able to get along with people because they don't want to hear the truth. I had this conversation, and I just saw him the other night. I get along with him, but it's just like I don't want to go there anymore. But I told him, I said, the money's not there. Oh, it'll be fine. Everything's fine. The government will take care of it. And it's like, yeah, they'll take care of it. All right. You'll get your Social Security and you're not going to be able to buy anything with it. I mean, you're going to see inflation on a scale that it's unfathomable. It'll be unsustainable to where you won't be able to do anything with that money. It'll be useless, but you'll get it. Yeah, they'll make it up.
Because you're saying they'll just
print it up. Yeah, they'll just print it up and bail it out and say, yeah, here you go.
But then
look what happens.
Spike hyperinflation.
Yeah, you're going to have $20 a gallon gas. And then what are you going to do with it?
I know it.
It's a Ponzi scheme. That's what people don't understand. It's a big Ponzi scheme. You look at Madoff, you look at FTX, you look at all these little Ponzi schemes, that these people perpetrate on you. Mm-hmm. That's the government. I mean, these are just little tiny instances of it, but that's how the government works.
Yeah.
It's not your money. Get your money into something that you can hold in your possession. That's why we preach about cryptocurrency and preach about precious metals, because you have it. There's no debt attached to it. It's something you can have, take with you anywhere you want, and use it. And it's in your possession. I mean, that's the key. It's like, hey, I got this car over here waiting for you. And then they never deliver it. And it's like, well, that's my car. Yeah, your name's on it, but they never deliver it.
Yeah.
Like an airplane ticket. Yeah, you can fly here.
Charlie was telling me about this scam back, I think it was in 2008 when the last crash, the Lehman Brothers thing, that the car dealerships would get people all excited about. They would think they're trading their car in, and they'd do the paperwork, and then they'd say, "Oh, come on down. We got to get you to re-sign things because we got a better percentage rate," or something like this. And people were all excited about it. So they didn't even read the paperwork. They'd go re-sign it. And now they own 2 cars because the new deal did not count their trade-in. So they would leave the trade-in off. The banks didn't want that, the trade-in.
There's just too many. They didn't want them.
It was
What?
because there's so much. Yeah. Right now there's
That's
there's
happening
this
again.
one guy in town that we know that has a dealership, and he's got multiple other businesses, but he's literally hiring people to repo. Like he doesn't have enough people to help him repo all the cars that he's having to repo.
Why did Johnny not show up for work? I don't know. He had a sudden heart attack. Well, what happened?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
That's a Cliff High thing too, though.
Yeah, it is.
Going to
People
be
just like disappear.
He's like, I know prices are going to go up because of inflation, but don't worry, there's going to be so many dead people that there's going to be a lot of stuff.
Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. You ever see that? You know, Monty Python movie. Bring out your dead. Yeah, I'm not dead yet. You will be. I mean, and it's crazy. I watched a movie, Anecdotal's movie. It's called Anecdotal's movie. I actually posted it on my website before it came out under the red pill section, because you never know. It got taken down by YouTube, and then a congressman helped, Ron Johnson helped get it back up. And anyway, it's just about people telling stories of what they've gone through with this pandemic, that, you know, and they're,
oh wow, how it's affected them.
How it's affected them, and then nobody cares. Doctors don't care. Nobody cares. They just, you know, write it off. And I mean, these are real people telling the stories.
That's the same reason that they ignore Reggie, because if they acknowledge it, it's the same thing we were just talking about. If you look at the truth, once you know, you have to take action.
You got to do something, or
say that you're responsible for not taking action, one way or the other, when the truth is known to you. And so that's why, like, we would go, we were in Miami and Reggie was there in the lobby, whatever. And he's like, see all these people, like half their projects infringe on mine and they won't let me speak on that.
Yeah, because it's like, ignorance is bliss.
They want to act like he doesn't exist, because if they admit they know he exists, then they have to acknowledge his patents.
Then they have to have facts, and then they got to argue it, and then they have to like have real evidence that they're not. And well, it's just easier to ignore it. I don't want to hear about what was going on at Hillsong. I don't want to hear what was going on in that priest back room. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to disrupt the whole thing. Oh, look at the good that's being done. I can't, you know, allow that to happen. And so people fall into that narrative because it will upset and destroy their whole life. Well, guess what? Is it really a life if you're just being deceived willfully? You're just deceiving yourself. And at some point, you're just going to have to answer to somebody that's, you know, probably got a little more power than you do. And the afterlife's not going to be good.
And say, you knew, and what did you do?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I had Sean's been on a real tear lately, and I've been the whipping post for some reason, and he was really frustrated the other day, and he was like, you know, we are responsible for killing all these babies, like these people that, and I was like, that is not a fair statement.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me, and I did everything I could in my power, including to the point of adopting children.
Right, that weren't yours. I mean, and we're a different race. And the reason why I bring it up is because you're in Oklahoma. And I mean, and the things you went through.
We had a lot
and it's
of,
like, exactly. And it's like,
I had
I'm doing everything I can do.
In Target tell me that I should put Mia in the back of the stroller because Cannon's white and he should be sitting in front.
I mean, seriously?
I thought my sister was going to kill her. Yes. I was like, it's fine. We're just going to have
but it's your fault.
Tell her that we think that all of our children are beautiful and valuable. Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting time because people are really. And you started talking about, so this reminded me, Chris just said, stay off the seed oils. You started talking about oils and healthy fats and all that.
Yes.
And I saw a thing about where it's the Walmart of food. McDonald's years ago used to fry their.
That's a W and an M, just reverse it upside down.
Yeah. Used to fry their French fries in beef tallow, which is actually way more healthy for you than their peanut oil or whatever they use now. I don't know what they use.
They'll use like sunflower, rapeseed oil, all kinds of garbage seed oils now. Yeah. Cheaper.
So that was something that I thought, oh, well, that was probably like a bad guy thing.
I'm sure
oh,
it was. I
gonna
mean,
sue them for using something that's actually good for you and get them using this terrible thing because
right.
everyone eats them, you know?
Hmm. Right. We'll just switch it over. And they used to have popcorn. You go to the movie theater, they'd cook it in coconut oil, which is better for your body. We look at the
Oh, okay.
different chain reaction, in your body and all that.
The MCT, mhm.
It's much more healthy. But let's not do that. It's too fattening. It's not good for you. It's high in what do they say? It's high in I don't know, some other kind of fat that they redefine. Your brain's 70% fat. If you got good fats, it's
Mhm.
good for the brain. I'm just saying. I
Yeah.
mean, but when you get these seed oils, it's in everything. They did the same thing with corn, high fructose corn syrup. Instead of using cane sugar, let's use high fructose corn syrup. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
And so you think, okay, is it really that big? I mean, is it really that endemic, in society that they're really trying to kill us that hard? I mean, you start thinking and you start looking, and yeah, I think they are.
And then can you think if we could get out from that sick food system, just the sick food system,
As
um,
Westwood takes a
how
puff off a
much
cigar.
how much longer we would live, you know?
Yeah, I know. I mean, you think about it, and then if you go back and you get stories of Methuselah living 969 years old, you've got all these stories of people living, and not that this is the reason why. I'm just saying that there are these stories of people living a long time past 72 years old. Were they eating McDonald's fries, cooked in seed oils, and I mean, or what were
Right,
they eating?
right.
Probably
They
right
were
off the
eating
earth.
that's what Dr. McDaniel talks about, they were eating when he grew up, and even my husband and I were talking today, he was raised mostly by his great-grandmother, and his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right.
And they ate differently.
I know it's the great-grandmother for sure, and
Probably had a
he said
garden.
yes, he said she'd go out with her little apron and,
Mm-hmm.
she's little bitty thing and bent over and she would pick the beans and get him to help her or whatever and go in, and it took a whole day's work. That's the
Right.
other thing. Just to feed your family and wash the dishes
But why would
and
we do that now, Lisa? Oh, it's
wash
like
them.
convenient. We can go to the store and
Yeah.
do all this. But see what they did? They substituted that real healthy lifestyle where you had a job at
Mhm.
home to provide, to cook, to do all these things, to nourish the family. And
Yeah.
we've traded that for, digits on a screen, a direct
Yeah.
deposit to where, we get fast food on the way home because, oh, we're just too tired. We can't do anything. Oh, just grab this.
Yeah.
And instead, so you got somebody working that doesn't even need to work because you're not even doing anything. Oh, let's take the kids to daycare. Hey, just because we got to pay the bills, for the overpriced house that the banks, screwed us with interest rates and pumped up the
Right.
price. I mean, it's all this BS to where it's like if you return to that, people think, well, you wouldn't have any money. Well, you didn't need money because you spend all your money on garbage food. Now you'd have good food. And it's just, you got to reverse that whole thing. But they've taken us down that path. That's where we're at. And nobody wants to hear the truth of it, I guess.
I
Well, they
know.
do, but a lot of people don't.
It's interesting though. I mean, I know that my kids are at least some of them listen to me and Charlie, and so we have a little bit different situation where like our girls especially really you can see them, making good choices in their health and their foods and talking about, when they have kids and if they're going to stay home so that they can, homeschool and do those kind of things. And so I don't know if it's just my family, but more of a trend back to seeing value in traditional home values, traditional home family structure.
Yeah. Well, it's healthier. I mean, it's just it's a healthier environment. And I mean, you realize that if you pay attention to it. It's just that we've been so distracted and so just inundated with propaganda that I mean it hasn't happened overnight, and I guess that's the thing. It's been the slow incremental boiling the frog situation to where you keep turning up the heat, and pretty soon, wait a minute, I'm burning, I'm cooking, I'm done. I've toasted myself, and they've done it with, I mean, at every level with money. That's my big thing. They've done it with unsound money that they can create out of everything, out of nothing, and buy everything and
Yeah.
control everything. And we've allowed them to kind of get away with that. But now we're starting to realize, okay, somewhere along the line we lost our way and allowed them to do this stuff, and now it's time to unwind it all. Otherwise, you're just going to go into oblivion, and they'll hook you up to the matrix and put a plug in your head, and You can play the metaverse game, when the rest of your body dies, as long as, whatever you have to feed them with is available. Maybe your blood. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it's just like, but these people aren't anything special. Look at these freak shows that are in Congress. Look at these freak shows that are running things. And it's just like, quit giving these vampires power.
No,
Stop
for sure.
feeding them.
This week, and this is where some of the truth is coming out. And, I don't think FTX is that big of a deal of what.
It's a small fish.
It's a big deal, but there's so much more of that. That's just a microcosm of that goes on all over in every industry.
Mm-hmm.
But the SEC counsel Berkowitz, I guess on the CFTC side, resigns after being found to have accepted bribes from SBF FTX. So now
there's no proof of that. He just resigned because it was time.
Oh, there's no evidence he took bribes while in his role. You're right.
But I'm being sarcastic, but there's smoke, there's fire,
Yeah.
And
this is added.
He was meeting with the White House. That's coming out now.
They thought I might know.
With the White House months before this happened, several times. And it's like, well, we forgot about that meeting on September 8th or 9th. I guess we did meet with him. With high-ranking people in the White House. And I mean, you're telling me they didn't know what was going on? Sure, they knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you lost your money. People put money into it, they lost their money. Didn't get any Bitcoin, didn't get any Litecoin. They lost their money. Went to Ukraine. Big guy got 10%.
Yeah, for sure.
Good times.
It's just crazy.
It is crazy. So, but think about this. Can I talk to like the normie people around here about that? I mean, you're just hitting them in the face so hard that they're like, I can't compute it. I'm just walking away. And that's what happens. They just can't compute it. I mean, it's just like, okay, I just got to go to work tomorrow. I got to get up early. And that's it.
It's crazy.
It's an awakening process. It really is. And you just got to keep telling the truth as long as they let you post a video.
Wherever you can tell the truth, then just keep telling the truth. Now they're saying Newsom took bribes from him.
No. The relative of Pelosi? I mean, they go back. Look at their families.
Yeah.
I mean, all these people are like related in business deals or actually related. And it's the same old song and dance, the same old corruption, same old families doing the same old stuff and getting up there and lying to you. Eating dinner in California at fancy restaurants, not wearing a mask. Meanwhile, he's mandating it for everybody else. It's just, come on, man.
Yep. Rules for thee. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Not for me.
And not for me. Yeah. I was going to see if I had.
Polly, you had a comment I wanted to respond to. Keep adding alcohol. It makes things healthier. Well, in a way, I mean, you think about it. I mean, when you had poor sanitation and you had water that would kill you, distilled alcohol actually, was a big thing in the formation of our nation. I mean, it really was, because you could actually drink that and not worry about getting all kinds of diseases because of the poor water.
So also the beer was really good because of the fermentation. Mm-hmm. And they called the women witches because they would make this mushroom brew. Yeah. And now you're seeing a lot of these like mushroom coffees and all the health benefits of them.
Yeah, I mean, all this natural stuff.
There's natural stuff coming out that's really helpful to people.
The mullein, what is it? Mullein leaf for the lungs. If you want to take that in tea, they'll put the leaves in there and drink it. It's good to open up your lungs. And there's all kinds of natural remedies, that we can use. Aspirin was a natural remedy from, I think, the white willow bark tree until, what was it? Yeah. Bayer, I think, patented it and, made it. But it's still white willow bark, the aspirin, it does the same thing. It's just not pharmaceutically made. Mm-hmm. But they take all the natural things, patent it, and make them bad, and make money, convince you that that's the only way. Don't prescribe the other stuff. And then they make a
synthetic version of it.
Kill the witches. Kill the witches that give you the natural stuff. And then
you're not getting the health benefits of it.
Give it to the wizards who wear white coats.
Oh, this was the one that you were saying.
Mm-hmm. He held father when he died. Someone messaged me who was because my father was in the CIA. He held the CIA record for the fastest assimilation of a foreign language. My father learned Russian within 2.5 weeks. 0. father, when he died, someone messaged me who was in, because my father was in the CIA. He held the CIA record for the fastest assimilation of a foreign language. My father learned Russian within 2.5 weeks.
Isn't that crazy?
So there you go. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I just look at the family connections and everybody involved in this stuff, and it's just, how big is this monster?
What do you call a group of unelected, unethical, power-hungry bureaucrats making policy decisions? In the United States, we call them the Federal Reserve.
The Fed is essentially a banking cartel, an unholy alliance of power-hungry financiers and corrupt politicians. In just a few decades, we went from being the world's largest creditor nation with a dollar backed by gold to the world's largest debtor nation with our dollar backed by IOUs.
The reason we have inflation is that the money supply is not pegged to something that takes human effort to produce.
Too much easy money comes at a great cost, growing wealth concentration and the decimation of the middle class. Today, markets wait with bated breath to see what 7 unelected central bankers decide to do with the world's reserve currency and interest rates. And in the end, they always print. They have to now. It's just math, and our debt is too high.
It's true. That's all they can do is print.
Yeah. That was from my friend Natalie Burnell. She put that together.
That's all they can do. That's all they can do. You know, and if they stop printing, what happens? Well, then the debts basically get called in, and you can't service the debt because there's not enough money in circulation or coming into circulation to cover the debt expense, you know, the overhang. And so then they start taking everything that, you know, that you've got that's debt based. Oh, you can't make your house payment? We'll take that. Oh, can't make your car payment? We'll take that. Oh, can't make your farm payment? You're over leveraged because the times were good, you know, and you basically used everything for collateral to get loans, fake money to buy more land. Yeah, we're going to take that too. And I mean, that's the whole game. I mean, that's what they do. That's the boom and bust cycle. I mean, it's just all because they either add money and have the roaring 20s, or they take it away and you have a Great Depression. I mean, it's just that simple because they control the monetary supply. If they control the money, they control it all. They can do whatever they want. And that's what they've been doing. And that's why it's so important to say, I don't know. I don't like going to Vegas and losing money in a casino. I think I'm going to just like exit this casino and keep money in my own possession, like gold and silver, like Litecoin, things like that. Real assets that you hold, you own. I mean, and that's really the key, that we have to get to that point to where it's like, enough of this. I mean, they're just
and be
screw
careful
you
about it, because there are those scammers out there. I mean, if Richard Hart's not a scammer, I don't know who is.
Oh shoot! Yeah, she went there.
The Mexican, like, I don't know. I mean, he's printing you, unless you're cool with, you really want a bunch of.
Listen, what's wrong with locking up a coin that's based on the Ethereum? It's on the Ethereum blockchain, and getting more coins by locking it up.
Where do they come from?
I don't know. It's code. It's math. But that, I mean, I'm not.
He doesn't answer his messages or his email, because
he used to say that
once he became subpoenaed,
he called out scammers all the time, and then basically, I mean, kind of said he was just going to make his own coin because he kind of saw how it worked. You know, take it for what you will. I don't get into that stuff. I don't want to get into that stuff. I don't want to get into venture capitalist stuff. I don't want to get into things that are created out of nothing. That's why it's so important to me, proof of work. You can't just go alchemically, maybe you can, but I mean, maybe just create silver. You got to work to get it, and it's hard to get, you know, so there's labor involved, there's energy involved. And so, you know, it's like, hey, I know that they just can't make this out of nothing. I mean, and there were times throughout history where they had the big silver lodes, you know, they found in Nevada, and then it kind of depressed the price of silver a little bit, but it didn't go to zero. It's just because there was so much more supply coming onto the market to where it's like, okay, well, the silver you've got is not quite as valuable as it was, but you still had to go into those mountains. People die going into these mines to take this stuff out. Yeah, there's a lot in there, but it takes a lot of work. I mean, we've got a company here in the local area, Caterpillar Incorporated. I mean, they make big yellow tractors. I mean, and it supports the area. I mean, you know, and all these people work there and build these heavy pieces of equipment that are just huge. And I mean, the things that they can do, these tires that are taller than, you know, people, and they build these so that they can take things out of the ground. I mean, there's so much work involved in getting that stuff and extracting it from the earth. And that's what makes it valuable, because you can't just go out and say, oh, it's like a diamond, you know, you find it and De Beers locks it all up and, calls it scarce. I mean, no, you got to actually go out and get it and work for it. And that's what makes the real cryptocurrencies, your Bitcoins, your Litecoins, your Digibytes. I mean, those kinds of things.
The proof
You
of
just
work.
can't create them out of nothing. I mean, it's taken Litecoin over 11 years to mine out, 72 million Litecoin. And there's only 11 million left for the next 100 years. I mean, it's something that's a scarce asset. Yeah, it's digital, but it takes all this computing power, all this, mining equipment, these computers to do that. So it has a value that you can't replicate. You just can't redo it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's valuable.
And then getting it in your hand price. Kent says it's $24 an ounce, but it's not really
Good
$24
luck.
an ounce. If you
No.
try to find it.
Somebody desperate that's wanting to sell it and
really.
unload it because they can't eat and can't pay their bills. Yeah, they might go to a
And they
coin
don't know what
dealer
the
and
value of it
they
is.
screw them out of it for, $23, $4 an ounce. But no, if you try and buy it from a minted coin, a US mint, any government minted coin, an Eagle, you're going to pay at least $10 more an ounce. So you're just, you look at what it takes to get silver out of the ground right now. All the easy silver has been gone. It's usually a byproduct of other mining stuff. And it's not an easy process. There's a lot involved in that. I mean, that's why governments don't want you using it.
Yeah, XRP Lee says no paper bills have been printed since 2017. I think you brought that up.
Well, that's what we've been saying. Look at your
while ago.
bills and look at the date on them. I have yet to find one that has a date after 2017. And I mean, you go to the ATM, you might get some crisp ones, but a lot of them are just ratty, and I can't even believe they're in circulation. And yeah, that's kind of my thinking, and I may be wrong, but I mean, every date on it is 2017 is the latest date I found. So does that mean they haven't printed any bills since 2017? I mean, if that's the case, here comes the CBDC.
Yeah. Oh, we know it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, that's the path. Let's roll you down that path.
Yeah. Charlie G says he took a silver bar to a local store the other day and they turned it down, which I'm sure they don't know how to validate it or recognize it, which is
like
why
a coin dealer?
Coins.
Did you take it to a coin dealer?
Coin dealer or
I'd be surprised that they wouldn't buy it, because ultimately, if you're a coin dealer, if it's $24 an ounce for silver, I mean, somebody's going to give you 20 an ounce. I'll give you $20 an ounce. I mean, you'll find somebody that's going to give you way under. I mean, somebody will buy it. It's just, I find it, I don't know. I need more background on that.
Yeah. More information.
Negative $40 a barrel of oil. I'll take it all.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Trump did.
Yeah, bring it on. I'll take it all.
No, it's just a regular store. He's not a coin place. So that's why.
That's part of the problem, because people don't know. Right. Because the dollar still works. That's what's recognizable, because that's what we've been trained to believe in schools. I mean, we haven't had real money since 1964. There's been no silver. There's been nothing in our money since that time. And you look at the couple of generations that have come since then, they don't know what real money is unless they're taught and they understand it. And I mean, and inflation is going to be a hard lesson, and that's going to teach some people. I mean, we've got Illinois, January 1st, the minimum wage becomes $13 an hour. Well, you can legislate that all you want, but the thing is, when there was nobody working, you had employers paying well over that to get people to come in and work, and they still wouldn't work. So, I mean, just by saying that this is the minimum wage doesn't really help anything. I mean, if there's a need, they're going to pay more money. Government legislating a minimum tier doesn't do a thing. It doesn't do a thing except pay people who really shouldn't even be paid that much money. I mean, you're going to get paid what you're worth. I mean, that's what it comes down to. If you've got skills, if you've got a value, if you've got skills. I mean, I'm not going to go hire a carpenter for $13 an hour because that's minimum wage. No, I'm going to be paying 5 times that.
Right.
You know, if you got a skill. Yeah.
The lawsuits are flying everywhere. Gemini got hit with lawsuits from customers. So unlike Veritasium, nobody sued Reggie for fraud or putting them in a bad situation, but the SEC went after Reggie. But then these guys actually put their investors in danger. They lost money because they were involved with the FTX thing. And so 2 of their investors are in a lawsuit with the Gemini boys and claiming that they, led a program without registering them as securities, sold us interest-bearing accounts without registering them as securities. So because they went and took the investors' money and did something else with it, I guess that's why.
I don't know, but all these exchanges, I mean, if they're not holding it one for one, then they're bogus. That's really what it comes down to. And I doubt many of them are. And we've seen a lot of them go under because they weren't.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't matter if they are or not. All it takes is somebody who's corrupt to say, hey, there's a lot of money here. I'm going to transfer this off into this, new wallet address and just basically dump the company and leave. And you see it happen. Oh, that guy died in India, with the guy from, Canada. Oh, he died in India. And then all the money in the exchange went bye-bye. So even if they've got all the crypto in there, even if they've got all the money, what's to stop them from just taking it? I mean, you're giving them possession of your assets. If you do that, expect the worst. If you don't have it, you don't own it. Basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm really seeing trend is the recognition of indigenous people, not just in America, but across the world. This is a voice in Parliament.
Speaking of dialogue and understanding, I want to connection to the last 5 minutes we have here to talk about the voice. I'll just flag that in about 5 minutes I'm going to call for your questions. So if you have questions, we have 2 microphones on either side down here. Please come forward and start to line up, and then we can move along.
It's called the Voice to Parliament.
The voice. You spoke yesterday about emotional engagement with people. I'm still asking a question, so thanks.
Oh, goodness.
You spoke yesterday about heart engagement with people on the voice. But I know people who want to support it, but they're also engaging with their heads and they're having trouble with the mechanics of how it's going to work. Now, can you step us through? Say you as a government come up with a health policy position and the voice exists. What happens then? Does every health policy position go to the voice? What is the process in your mind?
Well, to take a step back, so there are 2 fundamental things that the referendum will do. One is just recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in our constitution. They're not recognised as the Constitution is our nation's birth certificate, and it should be a source of pride that we share this continent with the oldest indigenous culture on earth. The second thing that it will do is the voice, which is there's a lot of detail out there. Tom Palmer and Marcia Langton produced a 200-odd-page document after considerable consultation. One of the misnomers about this is that there isn't information out there, and this has come from sort of nowhere.
Yeah.
The Uluru Statement was 2017, or 5 years of consultation. Since then, there's been 5 years of parliamentary committees, the Palmer Langton report.
17 and then 2 5s.
What he envisaged was a group of 20 people, 10 male, 10 female, with designated spots reserved for people from remote and rural communities, for example. But that would be consulted, and the question, the 3 points of the constitutional change, which are very clear, is that where matters directly impact Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, then the voice would be consulted. So it wouldn't be, take for example, if there was a policy of support for Medicare, that's for everyone, then that's not about the voice. What would be about the voice, though, is how do we close the gap in health, education, housing, justice, outcomes?
Very interesting to me. So that was Australia and the voice that they are working to give their Aboriginal people a voice.
A bunch of dingoes running the government down there. Lockdown Central. I don't know. They had a huge housing market that just went way up, and now, I mean, you're seeing all this start to roll over. You're seeing it all roll over. I mean, these governments and these central banks.
Yeah, China and all that, they're crashing like crazy. And
it is. And I mean, like this. We'll just create $1.7 trillion more dollars and put that into existence. And then inflation reduction, we did that earlier a few months ago. See, they're going to have to keep doing this. They say the 1.7 trillion that we just created is going to get us through September. No, it's not. They're going to have something else. It'll be whatever it is of the day. They're going to have to say, if it keeps going like it is and things don't change, and we have some upset the apple cart moment in January, which I hope we do. But otherwise, they're just going to have to keep creating money. They have to. They just have to. And as interest rates go up, I mean, that's more that the government has to service as far as debt. So they're going to need more money to service that debt. And so they're going to have to create more fictional money to service it. I mean, it's a big Ponzi scheme. And unfortunately, hey, I just want my Social Security. I don't want to rock the boat. I just want my retirement. Once I'm out, I don't want to rock the boat. It's like, okay, I'm not in this for me. I'm in this for the next generation and the next generation. I'm thinking of my grandchildren. I'm not thinking about, what I've gone through. It's like, I've already been screwed out of all my energy, the good energy that I had to give. And it's like, okay, now it's time that we try and fix things, for the next generation so they don't have to deal with it, because somebody's going to have to deal with it. I mean, you can't keep going along like this, because sooner or later, God will cut you down, just like, Johnny Cash says. It's going to happen. And so the sooner we face it and figure it out that, the whole thing's corrupt, and educate enough people that, it can't keep going on like this, the better off we're going to be as human beings. That's just my outlook.
I agree. I think with the truth out, it's just a painful process.
It is, but I'd rather know the truth than be deceived. Yeah. I mean, that's the difference, I
agree.
guess.
I'm with you.
Define the rules. Let me see how it's being, used. And okay, fine. Now I know how to play this game.
Yeah. And make it the same for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't know.
Crazy. I think we should do a Twitter Spaces tomorrow night, since it's New Year's Eve.
There we go.
We could do one tonight, but I probably won't be.
I don't know. I get a little riled up in Twitter Spaces, and maybe I shouldn't do it.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. What ticks me off is, you look at the whole crypto space, and there are some people in crypto who would rather say, listen, if my coin survives and the rest of them burn, I don't care. And that doesn't make any sense.
That's not a bright future for everyone.
No, it's not at all.
If you don't live in a world where everyone can be successful, you will be miserable. It will come back.
I know.
It's like putting a little scoop of poop in your brownies and go, well, just a little scoop of poop. It's just over there. I'm gonna leave that part. Like, you either have to have a good world for everyone, or it's going to affect you. There's no way to separate it.
That's just like free speech. I mean, you should be able to say whatever you want. And I might not like it, but, I'm glad that you've got that ability, because if you don't, the next thing is they're going to take it from me. And you've got to defend people's right to do that if you believe that we have the right to do it. If you think you've got the right to do it, well, then the other person should have the right to do it. Why do you have to come down on somebody? I've got the right to use whatever form of money I want. And guess what? If nobody wants to accept it, then I'm going to be sitting on a pile of garbage money. And that's my own problem. I'll figure it out. It's just like, why are we trying to, prevent people from freely using their energy in any way that they can, any way that someone else will accept? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I think that we'll have a lot of different currencies.
We should.
And people will choose, what they accept or what they should have to give. I mean, more of like a bartering, but even with currencies, bartering, well, we have to have free markets to do that fairly. So
yeah. I like to get abused, so pay me in dollars. I like the abuse. So, I'm going to choose to use dollar bills, fiat money out of the Federal Reserve. So just pay me in dollars so I can have it eroded, and have my energy stolen. I just love it. I love the torture. There are people like that.
Yeah. It's a crazy time.
Definitely is. Definitely is.
All right. Well, best wishes to the Westwood household, and best wishes to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys all for watching. We love you.
Yes, thank you. If you're not on Twitter, sign up for Twitter, because I made another video today, and it's just like, well, if YouTube's gonna hose me, then I'll go to Twitter. If Twitter hoses me, I'll find something else. It's just that they presented us with the easy tools. There are other platforms out there, but for the most part, people who are my age and older, they're not going to go seek out BitChute. They're not going to go seek out all these other platforms.
Rumble is a good one.
The eyes are on YouTube. That's what they do.
Rumble. Yeah.
And it's just hard. I mean, it really is. And I only got so much time in the day to do it.
Denise, Phil, Jay Delaney, Charlie G, Trini, Jason, Charlie G, Silver Gem. I think I said Charlie G twice. Okay. Magic Torch, Phil.
Torch is in the house.
All right, guys. You take care, and we'll see you.
Have a Merry New Year.
Year. Yeah, next year, right?
Yeah.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.